So we have our stub components set up, and we have all the necessary entries here in the file index.js for our router. So now it's time to update this file, header.view, to have some links to point to these new routes. So in the template section of header.view, I'm going to come down here right before the login logout bit, and I'm going to put a couple of blank lines in. And I'll add a new route, or a new LI, that points to all books. And this, of course, will be a public route. And we don't actually have any books yet. We don't even have the necessary database table set up, but don't worry about that. Let's just get started. So I'll put an LI in here with the class of nav-item, which Bootstrap expects to see. And I'll close my LI. And in between, I'll put in a router link, router-link. And this class, again for Bootstrap, will be nav-link, and I'll make it active just so it's easy to see. And we're going to link to /books, which of course has a corresponding entry in index.js inside the router folder. And we'll just call this books. And we'll close our router-link. Okay, so there's a public link, or a public route. Now, after that, I want a drop-down menu. But I only want this one to be available to authenticated users, okay? To our administrators, in other words. So I'll put an LI in here, and then I'll put a v-if on it. v-if, and that will be equal to store.token is not exactly equal to an empty string. And make sure you get the quotes right here. You want single quotes for the comparison and double quotes around everything else for that v-if equals bit. And its class will be equal to a nav item, but this time I want it to be a dropdown. Okay? So there's the opening li tag, and of course it's going to have a closing li tag, which I'll put right there. And in between there, I'm going to put, first of all, a class equals, and this will be our nav-link, and it'll be a dropdown -toggle. And it will have an href, which I have to spell right, of equal to just a hash mark. It doesn't do anything. And it has an ID equal to nav-bar drop down. And its role is equal to button. And this is all standard Bootstrap stuff. And its data-bs-toggle will be equal to dropdown. And then on the next line, just so we can make it fit here, I'll have area expanded equals false. Okay? And I'll just call this admin. That's the name of the drop-down menu, and then a /a. And for the items in that drop-down menu, well, we need another UL, and its class will be equal to drop-down -menu. And area-labeled by, better spell area right, labeled by, that will be equal to nav-bar, which I had a capital B, bar, drop down. Okay, there's my opening UL, and here's my closing UL. Now, inside that UL, we'll have our various drop-down items. So, an LI with a closing LI. And in between, we'll have a link to say managing users. So router-link, and its class will be equal to drop-down item. And it links to, and from router.js we had /admin/users. That's what we decided the URL would be. And I'll call this one manage users. And I'll close my router link. Okay, now I'll copy this just to save some typing and paste it. And the second one will be add a user. So we'll change the label to add user. And the URL for that would be /admin/users/0. The ID for the user we're going to add will be set to 0, because I know there's never going to be a 0 in the database since Postgres starts counting at 1. Now I'll paste that again, And this one will link to /admin/books. And that will have to be manage books. Now, I'll paste again, but this time I'll show you a slightly different syntax. I want this one to be add a book. But the other way I can do this 2-bit here is instead of going to /admin/books/0, I can actually do it like this. I can instead delete that and put :2 and give it a different syntax. Still in double quotes, but now in single curly brackets. Name will be book edit, link to that, and give it params of book ID and 0. It's just a different syntax. Both of these will actually work. I have a typo here somewhere. I need another closing curly bracket. There. Okay, just a different syntax. And there's documentation about that on the view router. In any case, this is all added. Now there's one thing that I have to add here. I don't believe, if I go down to the script section, that I actually have the necessary JavaScript for Bootstrap in order to make this work. And that would be over here in index.html. No, I did not put that in there. So let's go get the necessary JavaScript for Bootstrap. We'll go back to our web browser, go to getbootstrap.com, click on download, find the section on CDNs right here. I'll just copy the whole thing, then delete the style sheet. So I go back to, and I'm in the file index.html inside the public folder. Down here, just before the closing body tag, I'll paste what I just copied and delete the first part, which is the CSS, because I already have that at the top. So I'll delete that and save this, and that should be fine. I'll just tab it over. Okay, so now I should be able to go to my terminal, make sure it's running. It is. Go back to my web browser, go to my application, and go to the home section, reload this page. There, I had to reload it because index.html changed, but now I have my admin menu and it drops down. And if I go to manage users, hopefully it'll take me to the right component. It does. Add a user, there's a user. Manage books, books admin. Add a book, book edit, and all books. Now all books didn't take me anywhere. Why not? Let's see what that one is. So we have this books, which has books, and index.js for the router. /books takes me to the component books. Back in header.view, should take me to books, plural. There. Save that. It recompiled. Let's go back and try it one more time. Go to the home page, and books now takes me to /books, and it works. And now if I click on log out, that admin menu should go away. And it does. Now, that admin menu went away, but bear in mind that I could still put the appropriate URL up here. I should be able to go to /admin/users, for example, and it will still show that component. And that's not good. And that's simply because we haven't put our authentication code in on these various components to say, unless you're authenticated, unless your token is not equal to an empty string, you can't see these. So we'll take care of that sort of thing as we fill out each of the individual components. But for right now, we have a good framework in place, kind of a skeleton version of our application. And we'll get started populating the various components in the coming lectures.